Hi there and welcome back to another episode of Prestige Liquids. My name is Andrew and as always it is fantastic to have you here with me again on another whiskey review video. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for joining me along my journey so far, and if you're new to the channel then please make sure you hit the bell notification and the subscription button right now so that you can stay up to date with all future content. Well now, on to the show. Okay, let's get cracking on another whiskey review video. Today I am going to be reviewing a whiskey that comes from the Isle of Jura, which is located in Scotland. This particular review will be featuring the Jura Superstition. So this is a lightly peated expression, bottled at 43% ABV. Now, Jura is one of those distilleries that does cop a lot of flack due to the fact of them using like a lot of E150 and chill filtration and all that kind of thing, but I'm not going to focus so much on that today. I just want to focus on the actual liquid in here and we'll see what we get for this review. So let's get started. Jura Superstition. On the nose. Okay, so really the first thing you will notice is intense sweetness, followed through with just a very light hint of peat. It has this really smoky apple element coming through to it. If I didn't know that this was an island distillery, I would just assume that this is a lightly peated Speyside. Like I said, the nose is very sweet. Apples, pears, light citrus. Think along the lines of a very sweet mandarin. There are some grassy elements coming through, almost like freshly cut lawn. It's also quite grainy, very malty. I am getting hints of raisin. Now, I haven't really done any research on this, so I'm not sure what kind of casks were used for this, but considering like the amount of like those apple notes, the vanilla, also a touch of caramel, I'm going to assume that this is American oak, most likely an ex-bourbon cask. There is a touch of black pepper spice, but the peat on this is extremely gentle. It's very fragrant. It is more of like a campfire style of smoke that's coming through. It's also a bit floral. The peat on this is something that is kind of more of an afterthought. It's not something that is a very dominant feature, which is kind of what I like with peat. I like the peat to be there to accent certain flavors. I mean, I do love heavily peated whiskies, but I do prefer when the peat is used more so to accent the other characteristics of the whiskey. So let's move on to the palate and see what we get. So cheers. The mouthfeel is quite thin, but much of the flavor profile from the nose carries through onto the palate as well. So you're going to be expecting those typical bourbon cask notes, vanilla, caramel, again those apples, pears, typical orchard fruits. I'm still getting that mandarin note, though I will say that the smokiness and the peat is more intense on the palate than what it was on the nose. That's not to say that this is a very intense peat. It definitely isn't. It is very light, but you will notice it more on the palate than on the nose. I'm also getting more hints of milk chocolate. Again, those raisins are there, but it's kind of like a rum-soaked raisin. It has that extra characteristic of a rum. Let's go with a rum raisin chocolate. Again, one of the things that's mostly disappointing me about this is the lack of texture. The overall flavor is actually very enjoyable. I am now also starting to get some really nice oaky elements coming in, but again, it's the texture and the mouthfeel that's lacking. I mean, this is bottled at 43%. You would naturally assume that there should be a bit more viscosity to it compared to like a standard 40% whiskey. But I have had 40% ABV whiskies before that have had a thicker, much more syrupy mouthfeel than what this does. And again, I'm just going to keep on saying that is my major flaw with the taste of this. It really does let it down. I mean, it's not to say that this is a horrible whiskey, but because it's not, it is very enjoyable. It is a very nice sipping whiskey, but it's not going to really be doing anything for, I guess, big time whiskey drinkers. This is something that is definitely better suited for whiskey newbies, people that are just getting into whiskey, or people that don't really enjoy overly intense whiskies or very intense peated whiskies. If you're wanting something, so if you are used to more of a Speyside style of scotch and you're wanting to get into peated whiskies, I think this is a very good gateway whiskey. But for me, that's really all that it has to offer. It doesn't really have anything else. It does have a really nice balance of flavors, but again, it's just that texture. When you have that amount of flavor going on, you want there to be some chew to the whiskey. You want it to have some body, but unfortunately, it's falling flat. But I will enjoy the rest of this for what it is. And again, it's just a perfectly decent entry-level single malt. So yeah, in terms of the finish, again, not much going on. There is a little bit of smoke that comes through. I will say that I am probably getting more smoke coming back up through on the finish than what I was on the nose and the palate. It's also started to develop a little bit more of some nutty notes. So I'm starting to get things like cashew. I might also be starting to get hints of cigar tobacco leaf. So that's nice to see that there is at least some evolution going on. It's not all just a one hit note. I mean, I think this is one of those bottles that probably does cop a little bit more flack than what it should. But then having said that, I do believe that the Jura Superstition is usually the most well received out of the Jura core range. From what I've been told, Jura really shines through when it comes to independent bottling. So if you're able to find an independent bottling of a Jura, you're sure to be in for a really enjoyable whiskey. But for now, that's all I've got to say. I'm not going to go blabbering on any more than what I need to. My name is Andrew. I'll see you all again on the next video. KIPPIS. Oh, you're still here. Well, why not consider continuing on with some more content and subscribing? I'll see you next time. Bye bye.